In this video, we are going to be covering the element of art, and this one is going to be shape. So the concept is we're going to create um, a forest scene using only rectangles, triangles, and circles. And this is the set of instructions to be able to make this design happen. So the first thing we need to do, we'll go into Adobe Illustrator, and we're going to create a document. It's 8.5 by 11 and set to inches. Again, if you get used to, this is my recent, under my recents, so I already have it plugged in here. But if you don't, you can always go to print up on top. The default is letter, change from points 2 inches, change from CMYK to RGB, keep it the artboard and portrait and just one artboard, hit create. And then from here, we're going to add a background. So grab your rectangle tool. I would also make sure to get in the habit of getting your advanced toolbar. So I would go to Window, Toolbars, Advanced. Default is basic, so change it to advanced. Oh, I turned mine off. And that way you have a full set of tools. Then with the rectangle tool, you just click on it and then single click on the page. You'll get a little dialog box that pops open. And we're going to make this 8.5 inches wide by 11 inches tall. That is the same size as your artboard, 8.5 by 11, and hit OK. So again, the default setting is we have a white fill, black stroke. And I want to make sure we're turning that black stroke off because it will get in our way as we move forward. So I'm going to open up my properties, and you can see I have access to both my fill and my stroke. If you click on each window, you'll get into the set of default swatches. And the first swatch is actually nothing, so you can click on that. You can see that it also made changes over here underneath your toolbar. And you have access to these too. If you click on the square, so this is the stroke square, the outline square, and that's the fill. If you click on it to access it, then you can also go and either add or delete. So know that it's there as well. Okay, so what we are going to do is you can make this any color. Think forest, think sky, because this is going to be the very background. And I'm going to do mine dark green. But I want to make sure that you know how to create a custom swatch because, these are just pretty basic. And there will be times where you want to create your own custom swatch. So what I'm doing, let me just get out of here, show you again. Once you're in here, you're going to click in the fill window. You're going to click on any swatch that you want to adjust by double clicking that color. And then you're going to get this dialog box, swatch options open up. And then you can use the sliders to adjust your color. If you wanted to name it, you could name it here. I'll go ahead and name mine forest green. I'll leave it to process color for now, and then I'll hit OK. And then you can see that's the color. If I hover over it, that's what I named it. Okay, so we've made the color. Now we're going to lock it in place. So with your selection tool, you want to make sure it's selected. And then the hotkey to lock is Control 2. That's on the PC. Hit Control and then the number 2, or Command 2 on the Mac. You could also go up to Object Lock. Let me unlock this here. Right click, and then you get Unlock that rectangle. Object, Lock, Selection, and then the hotkey is Control 2. So now it's locked in place. I can't move it. We're going to do the same thing with another rectangle. So click your rectangle tool, single click on the page. This one's going to be 8.5 inches wide by 3.5 inches tall. So it's not quite as tall. This is going to be the grass part, the foreground part of your forest. And so I'm going to make it like a grass screen. So again, getting into your properties panel, clicking on the fill color, double clicking a color that you want to adjust, using the sliders to adjust that color to your liking. And then I'm going to name it grass screen. Okay. And again, we'll click on that using your selection tool and Control 2 or Command 2 on the Mac. Control 2, lock it. That way it's not going to get in our way. Now we're going to make a bunch of circles. So our ellipse tool is actually inside of the rectangle tool. So if you click and hold, you will get all of the options inside of that tool set. You can see that all of the tools that have a little drop down arrow have more tools in them. So you can always go and look at those. We will be using a fair amount of these over the course of the year, but even so, we will not be using all of them. What you will be using a lot of, though, is the ellipse tool. So click and hold. Hotkey for the ellipse tool is the letter L, so that will just automatically get you there. And then we're going to single click on the page. We are going to start with a 3" by 3" circle. These letters have to be the same, otherwise it won't be a circle. Numbers, not letters. Numbers will have to be the same. Hit OK. And I want to make like a night scene. So I'm going to go ahead and create a, let's see, I'm going to start with this gray. I'll double click it to get into it, and I want to turn it just a little bit yellow. Again, you can choose whatever color you want. Just going to see if I can dial in a color that I actually like here. That works. Okay. Okay, so now we have this circle. And, you know, we could make 5 circles. We're going to make 5 circles. We could go back to the ellipse tool, single click on the page, and then make the corresponding sizes. But I want to show you how to make a copy of something. So just like most programs, Control or Command C will make a copy, and Control or Command V will make a paste that thing. Which you can do. So Control C, Control V, you can do that 5 times. Or what I like to do is if you hold the Alt button or Option on the Mac, you can see that I've selected the circle, I'm hovering over it, I'm pressing down the Alt button. And you can see I got these 2 little arrows. If I click and drag, I can make a copy. So I'm just clicking and dragging. So I have a total of 5 circles. With each one of these circles, I'll actually show you what the end result's going to look like. So we're going to end up making something like this. So, you know, all these circles are centered on top of each other. If I click on them, they're grouped together. But that's the end product. But this is the original. This is the last one we did. I want to change some of these colors first. You can go back into your properties panel. Click on the next one. You can click on a different color. You can make some adjustments to that color and kind of repeat that process that you did on all the colors so far. But I want to show you a different option too. So if I'm going to, got this one made, I'm going to grab this guy. This is the color I use. So I'll click on it to make it the same color as the second circle. But then if I go up to Window and down to Color Guide, you can see that we have shades and tints. So this little plus sign means that's the color that it is right now. And this is a shade darker. That's 2 shades darker, 3 shades, and so on. So you could just click on that, and then we have shades of similar color. So you're going to have kind of like a natural progression of color. Then they kind of go together, so they, it's kind of a more of a seamless look. But you can see that, it gets pretty dark. I guess that works out okay. I want to go ahead and leave that. That looks pretty cool. All right, so let's resize these. So I'm just using my selection tool to kind of click and move these out of the way. This is the order I want. So that means this guy, let's collapse that, is going to need to be increased in size. So with it selected, I'm over here in my properties panel. I could go and we're going to double click the width, and I'm going to type in 3.5. You can see that I just typed in the width at 3.5, but I have this lock, this link. And if I hover over it, it says maintain width and height, so it constrains the proportions. And so if I change one, it'll automatically change the other. I'll just hit enter. And then you can see it's 3.5 by 3.5. If it's not linked, if you can unlink it and then you change it, so the next step up would be 4 inches, and I just hit enter, you can see that it just affects the width or whatever the one you're changing and not the other. So then you'd have to go into each one and change it to the right one. So always get in the habit, if you're trying to stay in proportion, to keep that link linked, not unlinked. 4.5, so we're increasing each step up by a ½ inch, and then the last one to be 5 inches. So 3 inch, 3.5, 4 inch, 4.5, 5 inch. Now we have all of these kind of, this one is in the right order, that one's in the right order, that one's in the wrong order, that one's in the wrong order. So we're trying to layer these on top of one another. Move this out of your way or in your way so you can see it. And so you can see that this one needs to be on top of that darker circle. And whenever you make a circle or whenever you make a shape, the next shape automatically gets made on top of. So you're layering things on top of one another. So we need to arrange how they layer. There's plenty of ways to do this. You could go to right. So I have this one selected. I right click, go down to arrange. And we're just going to bring this forward one step. So it moves forward. If I go here, you can see this one is all the way behind. So this will be a good way to show you the other options. With it selected, you can go to arrange, bring forward. So you could either right click, arrange, bring forward, or click there. You could also go to object up here and arrange and bring forward. Or you could go to arrange, bring to front. So it makes it go all the way to the front. So it doesn't just step in by one increment, it steps up to the very top of the page. You can do the same thing going backward or back. Or you could do a hotkey. So if you go to object, arrange, you can see all the hotkeys that we have here. So control, and then the right bracket, we'll bring it forward. The left bracket, we'll send it backward. Shift bracket, control right bracket, we'll make it go all the way to the front. So hotkeys, I love hotkeys. Makes it nice and quick and easy. Okay, I do like how this looks so far. And now I want to, because getting it center is sometimes as easy, like with circles, it can be easy. But in other cases, it can be pretty difficult. So I want to use mathematics to get it centered. So I want to select all of these shapes at one time. And I have my selection tool, And by clicking from the outside and dragging through all those shapes, you can get all of them together. So now I've got them all selected. I can click and move them, but they're not grouped. So if I click off and then click on, I just have whatever I click on. So we're going to do two things. We're going to align them, and then we're going to group them together. When I select them all. You can see in my alignment, I've got this pop open in my properties panel, and then horizontal align, vertical align. This is what I want you to click on. So we'll click on the horizontal, and then we'll click on the vertical, and now it's perfectly lined up. Again, they are not grouped together. I have them all selected. If I unselect and then click on them, you can see that I only have whatever circle I'm clicking on. But if I select them all and then in your properties panel hit group or hotkey Control G or object group Control G, you're grouping them all together. So now when I click off and click on, I've got them all. This is a good stopping point for the first video, and I'll have a follow-up video finishing this for you.